Greetings from Kenwell. Today is Saturday, August 15th, 2026. Today I'm going to continue to look at Psalm 19 and encourage you to memorize it. It is one of the most profound biblical reflections on the way in which God makes himself known to humanity. As we saw last week, Psalm 19 verse 1 begins by directing our attention away from human achievements and toward the created world. The heavens are telling the glory of God, and the firmament proclaims his handiwork. Now, let's look at verse 2. Day to day pours forth speech, and night to night declares knowledge. Although creation does not speak with a human voice, the psalmist presents it as continually communicating a theological message. The heavens, days and nights testify to the existence, power, wisdom, and glory of their Creator. Psalm 19 verse 2 is therefore significant because it presents creation as a form of divine revelation, since we see that the natural world is not merely a collection of physical objects governed by impersonal processes. From a biblical perspective, creation points beyond itself to God. Every sunrise, sunset, season, star, and living creature bears witness to the one who created and sustains all things. The repetition of day after day and night after night emphasizes that this revelation is continuous. God's glory is not displayed only on special occasions. It is continually being proclaimed through the world he has made. The first important thing to remember in Psalm 19 verse 2 is that creation belongs to God. The verse precedes it describes the heavens as the work of his hands. This language portrays God as an intentional creator. The universe is not presented as independent from God, but as something that originates from his creative activity. Scripture consistently affirms this truth. Genesis begins with the declaration that God created the heavens and the earth, while other biblical passages celebrate God as a maker and sustainer of creation. Creation, therefore, has meaning because it is rooted in God's purposes. The stars, sun, moon, mountains, oceans, and living creatures are created realities that point toward their Creator. Creation is valuable precisely because it belongs to God and reflects something of his character. Secondly, when David looks at the heavens, he did not simply observe their beauty. He recognized that their beauty communicates something about God. The vastness of the universe can evoke a sense of God's greatness. The order of creation can point toward his wisdom. The power displayed in nature can remind humanity of his sovereignty. This understanding is closely connected with the biblical doctrine of general revelation. General revelation refers to God's self-disclosure through creation and through the order of the world. Paul expresses this perfectly in Romans 1 verse 20. Ever since the creation of the world, his invisible nature, namely his eternal power, has been clearly perceived in the things that have been made, so they are without excuse. Psalm 19 verse 2 therefore contributes to a broader biblical witness. God has not left humanity without evidence of his presence. Creation continually directs human attention toward God. The language of Psalm 19 verse 2 is particularly striking because it describes creation as communicating knowledge. Day after day and night after night suggest an ongoing testimony. Creation does not need to use words in the ordinary human sense to communicate. Its existence itself becomes a witness. The rhythm of a day and night, the regularity of the seasons, and the grandeur of the heavens all communicate that the world is ordered and sustained by God. The silence of creation is therefore not theological silence. It is a form of proclamation. Psalm 19 verse 2 also invites believers to cultivate a sense of wonder. Modern life can easily distract us from the testimony of creation. Technology, entertainment, work, and constant communication can leave little time for observing the natural world. Yet David reminds us that every day and every night carry a message about God. A sunrise can inspire gratitude. The night sky can produce humility, and the complexity of life can lead to worship. Such experiences do not replace Scripture, but they can awaken the heart to the reality of God. In conclusion, Psalm 19 verse 2 presents creation as a continual testimony to the glory of God. Day and night together proclaim that the universe is the work of an intentional, powerful, wise, and sovereign God. The natural world does not exist independently of God, but continually points beyond itself toward Him. Psalm 19 verse 2 ultimately calls us to open our eyes to the world God has made and to recognize in that world an ongoing invitation to know, praise, and glorify its Creator, Jesus Christ. As I love to say, may the good Lord be with you until we meet again next week.